Start the eyes. Begin by outlining. I've already, as you can see, I've already put in the outlines and filled everything in with pencil, so I know exactly where I'm going. Now I'm just outlining the eyes. Top lid first, because it goes on top, right? Goes over, and then I tuck the bottom. Even though we're looking at this from the top, I'm still going to outline it in the same manner as I normally do. I've now switched to my shader, and I'm going to gently shade in here, attempting to avoid the highlight. If you accidentally overshade the highlight, it's not that big of a deal, because I'm going to go through and clean it up anyway, but if at all possible, try not to hit it. Go around it. Try and keep the shader flat. I've now switched to askew, and we'll begin. Oops, it's a little too hot. Definitely want to test the heat. Always test your heat, because it will make a difference. Your setting won't be the same from day to day. The ambient temperature, the different types of wood, you know, the electricity going through your house. I know mine varies. So make sure, you know, people often ask me, well, what temperature should I burn at? You really have to test it. In order to get a good effect, you want to test that. You always want to be testing it. Now I'm just going to begin with the main areas here. Okay, putting in the lower part of the socket, the tissue over the socket, and the upper tissue of the socket. Now this area is very light. This area is much darker, so I'll go in and fill it in. Always watch the direction of these strokes, because the direction of the strokes is going to tell you what the bone structure is underneath. And also watch your values. Values are the difference between light and dark. That also, especially in an animal, it denotes not only shadows but markings, different types of markings. You know, where are they light? Where are they dark? And now we turn here. And the fur goes like that. The direction of the fur is what tells the viewer what's going on and what's the shape of this animal. I notice a lot of artists, beginner artists, will just make a bunch of fur marks, but that's not going to help you, because that's not telling the story. The direction and the quality of line of the fur tells a lot, gives a lot of information to the viewer. I'm going to tell you how coarse or how soft that fur is. What's going on, like this part is, it's going down, and so this is a little bit darker. Okay, and the top here is much lighter. Short fur, short strokes. Long fur, long strokes. Don't try and cheat by making really long lines and then think nobody's going to notice, because they do. And quite honestly, it's not that much work to do it right the first time. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll put guidelines for myself so that I know where the fur needs to go, and that way I could just focus on getting the right quality of line instead of worrying about the direction. So I'll give myself some little guidelines, little hash marks like that, so I know where I'm going, and then I can just focus on creating nice quality lines, because when you're doing fur like this, you don't want to do lines like this, because that it looks stiff. Instead, you want to focus on soft lines that have a certain amount of variation. Okay, even though they're going in a particular direction, you know, you can move them around a little bit. That's what quality of line is. This is a very stiff line, and there's a time to use a stiff line. This is more of an organic line. Okay, it has movement, it has softness. So it's always important to notice the quality of line that is needed for any particular surface. Don't try and do this all in one fell swoop, one swipe through. Make sure you take your time. Do it right the first time. It really doesn't take that long to do it once you get the hang of it. And it's really important to take the time to get these strokes right from the beginning. It just shortens the whole work time because you're not spending time making corrections. You're just spending time refining. And refining is a whole lot more fun than trying to figure out how to fix a mess.